people I'll post it. But yeah, I mean, the DevDay conference or seminar that OpenAI held a couple of days ago was, I mean, my first reaction was, my mind was blown. I was like, oh my gosh, look at all these amazing tools that are being released and that we're going to have our hands on soon. I don't have access to any of them yet. I think that there's been some delays. But my second reaction was kind of it was kind of I feel bad for a lot of the developers that kind of leaned in early on to creating a lot of tools and wrappers that were built on top of ChatGPT. A lot of those tools are going to be rendered obsolete. Yeah. And a couple of weeks ago in one of these calls, I mentioned that if you're making a decision to invest in any AI tool right now for your real estate business, it's best to do a month-to-month subscription. Don't buy the annual plan, because a lot of these tools will not exist in a couple of months, and they're just going to kind of be sucked up by OpenAI. They're going to be either a custom GPT or they're going to be in the plugin store. So don't buy an annual plan to any of these things that you see online. But I'm really excited. I mean, one of the big updates was the announcement that we're going to have GPT-4, and GPT-4 is essentially upgraded version. GPT-4 Turbo is going to have a longer, what they call context length, which basically means that it's going to have more memory. It's going to be able to take in more information, and it's going to be able to provide us with more information in a conversation that we're having. So that's going to be nice, because if you're someone that's creating a lot of content in a single conversation, like you're writing long blog posts, the blog posts are going to be of higher quality. ChatGPT is going to do a better job of creating that and then kind of shaping it and remolding it into different types of pieces of content. So yeah, I was really excited to see it. What were your takeaways?
Well, I like you, just kind of mind blown, like, oh my gosh, I need to pay attention to keep up, you know. Because as soon as I don't pay attention for maybe 2 months, it'll already warp speed ahead, I feel like. But here's my question about ChatGPT now, and maybe what's coming is, let's say I create a lot of Instagram, social media content, and I want to put that somewhere. Let's say ChatGPT is my business coach, and I want to put all of that somewhere. And let's say it's my mindset coach, and I want to put that somewhere. And let's say it's my, virtual, my, Christmas shopper helper, holiday festivity planner. I want to put that somewhere. I wish there were, what do you do where I want to keep these chats going? I want to continue these chats on a weekly basis. Like, how do you organize all of that?
Yeah, that's hopefully anything that I show you right now about how I currently organize it, I hope is going to be obsolete here very soon. I think that what you're going to see with the release of the GPT store is the ability to basically load a custom GPT that's been created. Maybe out in the GPT store, there is a mindset coach that you'll be able to kind of dock into your own personal account. And then you'll have the ability to go into that, and that will be the location in which you play with your mindset coach or conversate with your mindset coach. And then you'll be able to go and find a real estate coach. And maybe there's 400 different real estate coaches, right? We're not all the same. So there's not going to be a situation where there's one real estate coach in the GPT store that is for everyone. There's going to be a lot. And so you'll be able to pick and choose the one that, and that process of discovery of which one is the best may take a second. But I think that what's going to happen when the GPT store is rolled out, so we're going to make it, it's going to be a situation where you'll be able to organize all of this stuff that you're doing a lot more easily. And that's coming. They said that they were going to release the ability for paid users to start creating custom GPTs this week. That didn't happen. And then the GPT store would be released later on this month.
Yeah, so I think staying aware of that is going to help this community. Yep. As we start navigating where to go, what to do, how to do that. I'm excited about that because the more I use it, the more I kind of get lost in it.
Yeah, I totally relate. And I think my biggest takeaway from the announcement about the custom GPTs and that sort of world that they're creating is that essentially what it is that you can create your own GPTs without having to know how to code, right? So we're all going to be able to have the ability to create our own AI assistants, what have you, without needing to know how to do any sort of programming or coding. We just use our natural language. And so for me, this unlocks a huge potential for everyone to be able to it could be a small task, it could be a big task, but everyone's going to be enabled with this technology, just using their voice, just
Yeah.
using their fingers on their keypad. And you'll be, if you can give instructions to a 5-year-old, you can give instructions, or a 3-year-old, you can give instructions to your ChatGPT or to a custom GPT that you can then empower to do something for you. And the technology is just going to keep getting better. So what it can do today, it's going to be leaps and bounds beyond that in a year. And so you're right, like paying attention now at these early stages, I think it'll set you apart because you're going to have a skill, and the skill is going to be being able to leverage this tech quickly for yourself to do whatever it is you need to do.
Yeah.
It's not about AI. It's about your life and your business and just going from A to B faster. So go ahead.
Yeah, no, I agree. It is exciting, and we need to keep up with it. Otherwise, it'll just take off.
Right now, there's kind of a very diluted version of custom GPTs built into ChatGPT. There's the custom instructions, which you can modify in your settings to kind of pre-train the ChatGPT to act a certain way, but that's going to apply the same across all of your conversations. So if you're like me, you have one conversation for what you're going to cook for dinner tonight, and then your next conversation is about a difficult conversation you're going to have with a seller, and then the next one you're going to have a conversation about creating branding for my real estate brand. And right now the custom instructions are just applying similarly across all of those. So the beauty of the custom GPT that's coming out is you can create one for each one of those. You can create a separate set of custom instructions essentially.
Oh, let's see if this is Mark. I have somebody on the chat saying the link isn't working.
Yeah, I can go in, and it's so interesting that
I just always go on the page and just click the link.
I'll go in there real quick. Yeah, let's let Mark. Mark, I'm sure will have some good takeaways from the call. I'm sure he was on the DevDay call.
There we go. Okay, perfect.
Let's see if that helps him out. I'll monitor. Thanks for letting me know.
Well, while we're waiting for him, I am curious if we could just say what we're using it for, what we've used it for this week.
Yes. What did you accomplish this week with ChatGPT?
Yeah, let me tell you. My social media, I've had a lot of fun with it. It inspires me to do more. So I've created a content calendar, which sometimes I implement, sometimes I don't, but I definitely have like specific things for specific days. It takes the thought out of it, but it also kind of gets me excited. I feel more confident with what I'm posting. I feel more confident with the content, and just taking the initial writer's block out of it really sets me up for success. I do Tuesday touch base Tuesday with all my clients. And so it's really helped me formulate a format that is fun and inviting and engaging. And I've had some good feedback from clients with it. So and with video, I take some tips from that Tuesday touch base email that I send out. And that's the video I created the other day for Instagram. So I'm transferring content from an email that ChatGPT helped me with into a video for my social media.
So where are you headed? It sounds like you're gaining some momentum with like starting to integrate the tech in your life and business on a daily basis. Where do you see yourself going? What's your plan? Have you thought a little bit more long term?
No, I just can't believe how much this excites me. And I'm just soaking it up and learning as much as I can from it. So, I mean, that's a really good question. I guess I'm focusing on how I can use it for my business right now, but moving on from here, I mean, Lauren was in a female meetup group that was agency agnostic. You know, we everybody in the group was from a different real estate agency, but we were all women, and shared with them everything that I'm learning. And that's that's definitely part of my giving back and helping others.
Yeah, absolutely. It was kind of a trick question too, because as we've all seen since we've been following this development and the impacts in our real estate profession, it's constantly changing.
Yeah.
And pretty soon here, we're going to have the addition of several, and you may already have access to the new modalities in your, if you're a paid subscriber to ChatGPT, we have DALL-E 3 now, we have ChatGPT Vision, there's a new Whisper version out, there's image generation, speech generation, that's now possible from all different directions. And so it's kind of changing very quickly. And I think that keeping up with the pace of the changes will allow you to start to make decisions about, okay, which of these are relevant to me, and then just ignore the rest. I do think it's important to decide on like kind of what piece of this is going to be the piece that you focus on while still keeping your finger on the pulse of everything that's developing. Many of these features have just been out for a couple of weeks, and so the possibilities, nobody really knows what's possible. So I think that for those of you guys that just joined us, we're kind of going over reactions to DevDay and the excitement and some of the announcements that were made. Mark, Cody, did you guys have a chance to catch the talk?
I did, yeah.
It was awesome. My mind just started turning like a cogwheel, and it was starting to turn other cogwheels. And so I know Cody's been working on some crazy stuff with his SAM project, but now it's also incorporated into a new chat, so a new GPT. So that piece right there will help real estate agents a lot. I'm working on one for RealVault so that we'll be able to do same type of thing and do integrations and stuff with it. So the power, and from what I'm understanding, I think Cody has a better direction or a better input on this, but from what I'm understanding is there's a ton of tech companies that are kind of going, they're scared because it's actually removing some of their specialties. So I'm in the opposite mode where this is just adding more feature capabilities to us. So I think there's a lot of direction that they can go, and with the new features, it'll be mind-blowing.
Yeah, no, and Cody, I definitely want to hear your thoughts. But I had the same reaction. I was like, wow, these new features and models are awesome. I cannot wait to get my hands on them. And then my second thought was, this is probably not too good for, I was mentioning this earlier, any of the devs that got in early and really leaned in hard to wrapping a product in a nice, pretty UI around ChatGPT, and then kind of building infrastructure around GPT customizations. A lot of the features that ChatGPT or OpenAI just announced are going to render those products obsolete. And I follow a lot of different people on Twitter, and I saw some, I read about many tiers that people were shedding due to the release of these new features. But ultimately, I think it's important to remember that OpenAI they're providing a platform. They're not really trying to get into the business of creating all of these features. Their goal is to enable the community to create. So I think that's why they may seed their store with an initial set of things, but then ultimately the magic's going to happen when the world gets together and decides, okay, what problem do we want to solve, and then create something around that.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I yesterday I had a buddy call me out, and he lives in Silicon Valley and is playing the tech startup game, if you will, which is basically where you hop from startup to startup and acquire stock in them, and then just pray that they're the one Facebook style unicorn that like takes off, right? And so he obviously has transitioned from the tech world into the AI tech world with most of them. And he called me up yesterday. He's like, all right, do we still have a business? Are you dead in the water? He kept using the word moat. Apparently, he's like, do you have a good moat? And I thought it was pretty funny. Just like Mark said, what we've been able to do on my side, it's only going to make it better. But it seems like there's a lot of people out there that took some really basic approaches, and you're right, Dylan, like it may look pretty and it may have gotten the job done, but it was just a really basic concept that is now dead in the water because for the most part, most ideas are not like special ideas. Everyone can come up to the same conclusion eventually. And so I think that that's what a lot of people woke up on the 7th realizing, or I guess the 6th, afternoon, when they got kicked in the face.
What do you guys think after that call or that meeting? What do you think about the future of real estate and AI? I think that it's fun to follow all the various different advances in the tech and how they're changing other fields, but I do, maybe selfishly want to bring it back to real estate, and how not only what do we think? If we stand on our tippy toes and look into the future, peer into the hopefully not too distant future, things will look very different. And curious if, I spend a lot of time thinking about that question and wonder oftentimes, what do others think? Like, what do you guys think? Where do you think this is headed? And maybe then if we think about that, that will help agents today kind of get more prepared. I think being part of the conversation, I think being here, being interested, and being just kind of open-minded is a great first step, but also, what do you think is going to happen?
I think that from my mindset, like, even as these tools advance, inevitably people still want to work with people. And so I think what it does is it affords us the ability to move faster, to create better. The tool I have, one of the focuses is like, let's create content that actually sounds like you and your writing style, and so we can leverage technology to do our job more efficiently. And most of real estate agents I know, they're working 14-hour days, 6 days a week pretty commonly. So like, let's get them out of that too, and maybe we get back to an 8-hour workday, but we're being productive for a 14-hour like shift or whatever.
Yeah, I agree. I think that we're going to see a lot of maybe they're perceived as incremental, maybe they're big. I don't know, if like improvements in efficiencies and helping people do work faster. And I think that for most real estate agents, that's a huge win. Like if I can do the same amount of work in less time, if I can take a task that took me 2 hours to do and do it in 10 minutes, that's going to be huge, and that's going to have a direct impact on quality of life. And I think that even if we just stop there, like say that that's what the tech is going to do, I think that that's great. I think that the second thing is people want to maybe make some more money. And so figuring out it's funny, like there's the initial, like Kristen always says, the gateway drug into ChatGPT and AI is like, I can write a better listing description, or I can write a listing description faster. And then there's this realization of, oh, I might be able to save some time. Actually, this tool helps me save time. That's what it is. And then people start getting into it and they're like, oh, whoa, I think I can actually, like, maybe I could do more business with this. And so I don't think we've quite gotten there yet in terms of actual use cases, but there's some starts to it. There's some examples, and there's some agents out there that are using AI to, I think it's just still a little bit early to kind of be able to point back and say, yes, by adopting this tool, I made 10x more money this year. But I think that there are definitely agents out there that are going to be able to say that in 2024 and be able to attribute it to ChatGPT or AI, whatever tools that they're using.
Well, I just want to say, I don't know about how it can help me make more money, although I'm sure all the ways it will make me or any of us as agents look more solid in our brand and provide better content. So therefore, creating that trust and that respect that we want within our community. But what I was going to say is, I think it's going to save me a lot of money. It's going to save me money because ChatGPT will be my business coach. ChatGPT is where I go when I want to use the DISC formula for conversing with a client, knowing I'm a D and he's an S and I need to respond to this email. ChatGPT will be there for me to help. I mean, just so many social media marketing. You know, I don't need to pay somebody to do it now. I do need to spend an hour of my time, but there's no need to pay somebody. So I think it's going to save me a lot of money.
Does anybody else agree?
Totally. So I know I've not shared my story. I've been in the real estate tech business for 3 decades now. And I started early on just helping one real estate agent with her business. And she was sharing a lot of really critical information with me because I was, helping her. But I said, Peggy, why are you willing to share all this stuff with me? And she goes, Mark, you got to understand, I got into this business. She was a nurse. She goes, I got into this business to have more time with my family. And what I found is in real estate, you're constantly helping other people. You're constantly on the move. She said, I was working long days, long nights, long weekends, and came home late one night to tuck my daughter into bed, went into bed, her bedroom. She wasn't in there. Peggy went through the house, went downstairs. Her heart starts palpitating. It's like, where is Amber? And she finally went into her own bedroom looking for Amber. And there she saw Amber's legs sticking out of the closet. And she goes down there, scoops her up real quick. And she was just asleep, thank goodness. But she goes, Amber, you scared me to death. Why are you in my closet? And she goes, oh, Mommy, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to scare you. I was missing you, and I came in to smell the perfume on your clothes. And while that was it was like a knife going into my heart. I just had our first child, and it was just, an amazing thought of, here I'm helping her save more time, do more things, being able to spend less time at work and have a life. Real estate agents don't have lives. The worst part about that story is, while that is a unique story in and of itself, it's run rampant in different variations of it, because so many agents do not have the time that they want to spend with their family. So that's been my drive for 3 decades now. And with the advent of ChatGPT, we can now add so much more capability and take out the need for the creativity that is sometimes needed, or that is needed by the agents that don't always have it. And I don't want to say that, I mean, agents are amazing at contracts and all the things that they do for things, but sometimes being creative is a challenge, or thinking through processes and setting up these processes on a day-to-day basis is what's going to help make you money. And Evelyn, whenever you start thinking about how am I going to make money off of this, it's through using automation and using these pieces that can now be generated in seconds versus minutes or hours. And then you're going to be able to spend more time, with your family and stuff. So that's what excites me.
Yeah, it's when you step back, I think everybody reaches a point in their life in which they step back and think, okay, well, wonder how many moments I missed because I was busy with this thing over here that I thought was super important that I actually didn't need to be doing. And I think that AI has a huge potential to today, like right now, to start helping agents get back those missed moments so that they don't happen. And that's really what I wanted to kind of get to with this group was, what are the real use cases of the technology right now? Obviously, it's going to change. We can sit down and hypothesize about where it's going to be in 6 months and 12 months, and that's fun. It's fun to think about, but I really want to know, like, what are the hacks we're all using now? What are we doing now to get back those moments so that we can still look professional and still do our work and still make money, but also have more time to do whatever it is that we want to do. And I mean, if you sit down and think about all the different possibilities, I think it can become overwhelming. Like ChatGPT is, you have the ability to ask the brightest people on the planet any question you want based off of content that they've already written and shared with the world, either through Twitter or in books that they've written. And so you can stand on the shoulders of these giants. You can build a committee or like an advisory board for your real estate business to help you. If you sit down and have the intention that you want to get your time back, well, there are people who devoted their lives towards helping people get their time back. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. And if you want to build a committee of the most brilliant people in the world on a specific topic or based on a specific book, maybe it's a real estate book, maybe it's not. You now have the ability to do that. You can create a new marketing plan, an HR plan, training plan for whatever. And you're not consulting with AI. And I think that's the big distinction. You're consulting with those people and their thoughts. And so it's just fun to think about the possibilities of how you can reapproach problems that you maybe tried to tackle in the past in your business or in your life using this tool. It's just insane to me. Like, it may not be, and I think I was talking to Evelyn about this at one point, but it may not be the same as talking to those people in real life, sure. But it's better than just you trying to do it on your own and, in your bedroom at 9 p.m. while your kids are out begging for your attention or your husband or wife is there and it feels neglected. So I just think that there's a lot of really intriguing possible use cases for leveraging the tool to make really neat discoveries about how you work and how you can just do better. So I'm excited. I agree. I think that the DevDay talk was really, really exciting. And all the multimodal stuff that's coming out is, for me, I'm like, ChatGPT is just not for content creation. It's incredible. I can actually take my phone out of my pocket in a house and use ChatGPT vision to learn something about the house that I'm in. I can learn something about the environment that I'm in, and it's actually relevant to me being a real estate agent. So I think that
here's the question I have. I have this question especially for the agents that are active agents that have listings. With what ChatGPT just added, with being able to create your own GPTs. Now there is a limit, evidently. You can only put in like 10 documents into it. But what if you now take your listing information, not all of the listing information, but the things that are important to you, the listing descriptions, stuff like that. And now you put a link on your website to your own little chat GPT, and they can just ask questions about the properties there. And then what part of the instruction then is to be able to go in and contact you if you've got additional questions. So the question I have is, how much of that information are you guys willing to share to try to get leads? I mean, you're already putting a lot of it out there, but
I mean, I think that that makes me think of a couple of different things. One, I think that the format of the presentation of the data that's coming from the MLS is just so horrible that any new way of interacting with that data that's more natural, that's more human-like, is going to be, I think, well received. I think people have been trained over the last couple of years, decades maybe, to like digest that information in a certain format from Zillow, Redfin, Trulia, Realtor.com. But I think that what we're going to start seeing is new ways of that information being presented. And I think that, I mean, as an agent, I would be open to, I mean, exposing all the MLS data is already exposed. So I think that's a starting point. What other data were you thinking of?
well, I just know that there are some pieces of information that you guys are not always willing or wanting to share because, well, this person gets this information and then go anywhere and do whatever with it. So I realize there is certain pieces of information in there, but with ChatGPT's new feature, and I don't know if Cody's able to share it or not, but my initial thinking is take the property descriptions that you guys are creating and put them into a single document and just keep that live document up to date or whatever, uploading a new one, and then having the link to that ChatGPT piece. I'll actually do a video on it. This will be a good video for me to do. Because to me, this would be a huge ability for people to come on and just start asking questions about, hey, do you have any 3-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-car garage, in this price range? Well, they can do that now through the MLS, but do you want to give more details or different format or whatever? And I think that with the new GPT, you could actually do that but have instructions so that at the end of this, hey, Evelyn has some openings on Tuesday. Would you like to see, go see whatever, to try to instruct them and give them direction on what to do next. Once they found the property, would you like to go see it? And set those leads up that way, bringing those leads into your CRM automatically. I mean, there's just a ton of things now that we're going to be able to do because of this. And I think it just makes it a whole lot simpler for you guys to be able to do that. And I know with limiting of 10 docs, it's a bit of a challenge, but it doesn't say how long those docs can be. So
That's
One of
right.
my docs
Exactly.
is over 300 pages, if that's helpful.
yeah.
What did you say, Cody? I didn't catch that.
Oh, I'm sorry. One of the docs that I used was over 300 pages. Like it's a full book. Just seeding in concepts. So it seems like these GPTs are like super robust so far. This one that I like just got put together, I know you were trying to get access to, so I'm excited to see what you're able to build, Dylan. But it's essentially going to operate as like a little internal coach, which I'm really curious to see how it can like actually aid in that with it's like real estate focused through some of the teaching modalities that I share over on my side.
Yeah, that's amazing. I think that a lot of agents are going to be interested in getting access to coaching that was previously, is currently like pretty expensive to get. I mean, having a personal real estate coach can be, like $1,000 a month. So, I mean, if it's a true like personal one-on-one coach, like 30 minutes once a week sort of thing can be untenable. I mean, it's just unaffordable for a lot of real estate agents. I think that, and you know, there's a response to that unaffordable mindset, which is that, well, can you afford not to? And I think that if you can afford to do it for free or through ChatGPT for $20 a month, then I think that we can see how close we can get. And I think that empowering agents for $20 a month as well, I think it's a great investment. So yeah, I think the real estate coach angle is going to be really interesting to see how that comes to life. I think that, just to kind of piggyback on what Mark was saying, that we're going to see like a huge sea change in the way that search is done, and it's going to be coming from the bottom up. I think there are millions and maybe trillions of pieces of data in photos that are tied to transactions that have actually occurred throughout the world and throughout the US. And I think that with the ability to decode the content of images and then link that data to actual property addresses, to sales prices, to census and demographic information, is going to it's going to reshape the way that search is done. I just shared a couple of links in the chat. There's a company that's forming partnerships with CoreLogic, which is a major provider of data services to MLSs around the country. And it's called REST BAI, and they're working on some vision services, or, you know, like image photo recognition services that will do what I was kind of talking about. But I guess to boil it down, like, if I could take a picture of a house that I see driving down the street in a new neighborhood that I'm not familiar with and be like, find me more of these, and upload it to Zillow or whatever, and then come up with a list of active listings, and or, you know, set a search for myself that way. That would be pretty cool. One of the cool things about the vision services that Respi is working on is that they're trying to come up with some sort of, everybody wants to come up with a valuation tool, and using image recognition, they're trying to kind of pinpoint, is that granite? Is that marble? Is that slate on the countertops? What type of wood is that? What type of stain is that? So kind of agglomerating all that information into a model and tying it to the sales price, it kind of helped you come up with something that could be used for automated valuation. So there's a lot of cool stuff coming. And for real estate agents, why this is important is because if you could upload all your property, your listing photos to the MLS and have it auto tag the features of the home based off of some sort of AI service that just recognizes those, that's 30-year shingles, architectural shingles on the roof. That would be pretty cool. That would save a lot of time. And also, everyone knows that there's so much human error in MLS input, and at best it can be misleading. At worst, it's, you know, misrepresentation. And so if we can automate that process, it's going to save a lot of time for real estate agents. But I think the photo tags is going to be a lot of fun to see implemented. And CoreLogic has already entered into an agreement with Respi. They're rolling services out in markets in the US. They've already rolled out, I forgot what the county was called or what MLS it was, but they rolled it out in Canada as well. So there's some cool things coming down the pipe. And it's funny, I'm also a member of another really big Facebook group. It's not AI focused, but every time AI is brought up, there's two different factions. There's the faction of agents that are vehemently opposed to AI. They said, I'll never use it and I'll never touch it. And then there's a group of like AI curious, maybe AI adjacent agents as well. And there's probably a third one in there somewhere, but there's a lot of fear around it. And I think that whether you're, you know, an early pioneer of AI or just like a curious, interested party, I think that you're going to be using it in some way or shape or form. Any other reactions to DevDay?
For me, the cost drop with the increased in speed on 4 turbo is, I'm pretty sure I was like fist pumping for a full 5 minutes, you know. I'm really excited to see how that changes the landscape too. And I think that, you know, as cost goes down for these things, we'll be able to do bigger things. As bigger things happen, you know, maybe the actual hardware, you know, the processing centers and stuff like that are going to increase. The Microsoft or the the Microsoft CEO was kind of talking about them redefining their industry to help OpenAI. And I think that there's going to be a lot of places that do that. So I thought that was really cool.
That is really cool. I encourage everyone that has a Plus subscription right now to refresh their, maybe log in, log back out. I just got access to the GPTs, so I know what I'm doing for the rest of the day. It's super exciting. So that's a surprise. I've been like logging in and logging out all day long to try to, encourage it to refresh for me, but looks like it just happened. I'll go ahead.
They've been having so many outages. I think so many people are just hitting it hard. I know they also had a denial of service option too.
Is my screen being shared?
Yes.
Okay. So this is what it looks like, kind of like the first pass through. I just literally refreshed the page and there is a section or a page called My GPTs, an option to create a GPT. Then there are some that are made by OpenAI. So these are the ones that some of them were presented in the DevDay conference: DALL-E, data analysis, ChatGPT Classic. There's a game one, a negotiator, creative writing coach. So the list goes on. Looks like there's only like 15 or 20 here. But anyways, yeah, so I will be kind of working through that and seeing what's possible. Looks like they've also collapsed all of the different modalities into a single chat now. So previously, when you logged into ChatGPT, the option was presented to switch between 4 or 5 and you had, or 4 or 3.5, and you had to select it. Now it's just automatically in 4, and it's collapsed DALL-E 3, advanced data analysis, web access, all into one. So it's really streamlined. Now, hopefully you can flexibly go back and forth between different requests and different modalities in a single conversation, which is super thrilling to me because there are a lot of reasons, or there were a lot of instances in which I found myself wanting to do that, especially like bringing it back to this group and what we were using and are still using ChatGPT-4. One use case was asking ChatGPT to help with your personal branding and your mission, vision, values, your personal mission statement, your professional mission statement, and then using that as input into creating a brand identity, and then taking that output and using that as input for a request to DALL-E 3 to create a design for your brand, some sort of collateral for your brand, like a logo or a graphic. So this will hopefully make it a lot easier to do that, and a lot easier to make a cohesive set of collateral for your brand, so that your open house flyers and your logo and your Instagram posts, all of it's kind of in the same tone and message and style. So I hopefully will have some examples of that coming up soon if that truly is the case here. But yeah, super exciting. I'm gonna stop screen sharing, and hopefully does anyone else have access? Yes, sweet.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, tomorrow, Kristen is back at 2 p.m. She's going to be taking the helm again on our 2 p.m. call on Fridays. And next week, we are going to finally have the session on 7 ways to pick up ChatGPT for real estate agents. It's been delayed a couple of times. One, because we had some tech issues last week. And then this week, we actually also had tech issues because ChatGPT was down. But we'll be going over 7 ways to pick up ChatGPT. And I'm going to make this a really accessible class. And we're going to go over some, I think, really practical examples of how you can start using ChatGPT on a daily basis to try to become a daily user. I think that if you set the goal of using it once per day, I think that in a couple of months, you'll be well on your way to just kind of seeing the potential for how it can change your business. And so I'm a big believer in, even just for 10, 15 minutes a day, trying to play around with it and see what it can do. So that's kind of all I had for today. Is there anything any ahas or things that you've been working on this week that you want to share with the group? Evelyn, you shared quite a bit with what you're working on. Does anybody else have a question or idea? Cool. Well, I hope to see most of you next week, if not tomorrow. And hopefully you all have a lot of fun playing with the new ChatGPT.
Dylan, as you continue to play with it, I would definitely appreciate just in this group and with everyone, continuing to help us all learn and grow from it as we're trying to navigate and figure this out. So I look forward to doing it in a collaborative way, not just by myself. So thank you so much for.
Yeah, I mean, the reason why we're here is to do it together and to kind of think tank it. So, you know, if you're creating GPTs and you want to think tank your GPTs together, let's do it. If you just want to kind of start using ChatGPT, let's think tank that too.
Sounds good.
All right, guys.
All right,
Have a good
thanks.
one.
Thank you.